Welcome, and thank you for listening to this episode of Leaps and Bounds. I'm your host, Tom Bash, and I'm thrilled to be bringing you conversations with some of the most successful CEOs, sales leaders, and home improvement professionals. When I started in this industry 20 years ago, tearing off roofs, I had no idea about what went into making a home improvement business successful. Now, having met with thousands of contractors, helping them adopt technology, and watching them grow, I'm excited to invite them on to share what's made them successful, what they're doing today to stay ahead of their competition, and the advice they have for others. On this episode, I'm joined by Mark Olsen of Krumwiede Home Pros. As a member of the Elite Customer Advisory Board, Mark shares valuable industry insights, market trends, and product feedback. Today, we sit down to discuss the trendy consulting space. With so many companies looking for help with various aspects of their business, such as an inexperience in a specific field or desire to increase performance, Mark talks about the pros and cons, what to look for, and how to find the best one. He'll share his advice from the right questions to ask, the difference between consulting organizations versus solo consultants, and where he sees companies not happy or not having success. Well, I'm excited to get this show started, so let's go. Hey Mark, welcome to the show.
Hey Tom, what's going on?
Hey man, good. Hey, I love to start these off by first just understanding, how did you get started in the industry? Where was that for you? What got you into this?
Well, I don't think I had a choice. I went to college, so I didn't have to roof. It was a roofing company for about 68 years. Growing up on the flat roof, hot tar, all that misery. I thought my future was that, knowing my father owned the company. So I really didn't want to do that. But then when you graduate at the recession, you can't find a job for construction management. My dad was so excited to have me back on the roof. That was basically the only job I could find. But from there, realizing, his current company, just where it was at, phones naturally ringing, I started understanding more that this could be a career move and run it like a business. And for our conversation today is one of those industry organizations that I joined that really flipped our books and created processes and procedure that really took us off to get me to where I am today. So I love this industry. There's a lot of money to be made in this industry, but it's also a lot of headaches and growth and learning from mistakes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm excited to dive into this. First, tell us a little more about what the company does today.
So Krumwiede Home Pros is a third generation family-owned business that specializes in roofing, windows, and siding. We just launched our sister company called Redo Cabinets by Krumwiede Home Pros. It's a cabinet refacing company, and I would say with that switch was during COVID. Reason we did that was we're in the home no matter what. Weather doesn't stop us. Margins are great. It's a very exciting process. So that's probably, I'd say, 80% of our business is refacing. So that's basically the route we're going.
Yeah, I think that's so interesting, and the ability to pivot and change, what you're selling is, I think, harder than harder than people think, and I'd love to know what that pivot was like, going from roofing to cabinet refacing. And I know it probably didn't happen just like that, a flip of a switch, but curious to hear how that transition went.
Well, it was a long thought out process. My brother and I, my partner, Greg, we've always realized in the Chicagoland area, roofing is just overwhelmed. Windows are extremely overwhelmed. Lead cost is just out of control. And no matter what we were selling, how high our margins were, it was the NSLI just wasn't balancing. We also were always, how would I say, held by weather, rain days, cold days. And even people say, oh, you can install windows in the winter. It's like, well, yeah, you can, but not every customer wants you to be pulling windows out of their house in 20 degrees or -10.
Yeah.
And the same thing with roofing. So we really wanted to develop something where we're interior, but it's a replacement in and out within 1 to 3 days. And we were introduced to cabinets at an event, another organization event, and we only pulled the trigger really because COVID. We could not get in the house to do our process. We are a once it close operation, and when we start seeing things really tip off, we said, you know what, let's just launch this. And just like anything, it's a headache. You're a lot of learning, production, pricing, training. So we got past that headache. We're right now really cruising with it, and we see a lot of growth. Lead cost is very low, and NSLI is very high, so it's looking very, very good. But the biggest hurdle I saw in sales was we go from selling a need to selling a want. And when you got sales reps selling needs, and you try to show them to sell want, it was quite the shock. So we had to basically train a whole new side of sales reps just for this. So that was a big turn for that. But right now, I would never do it any different. So very happy.
That's interesting. Now, you and I had talked a little bit about what you've been seeing in the industry, and one of the things you were pretty passionate about talking about was sort of this, the consulting side of the business. And I know, you've had a lot of experience with it, with both good and bad consultants. But I'd love to just hear a little bit more about your experience with that, and then I think we can dive into some more pointed questions.
Well, I think you said it earlier. We both agreed it's consultants. However, I have a consultant that I've been with for over 7 years that is phenomenal, and I would never leave him because of where he's helped us with our company. Growing the company, though, I've been sold with many different consultants, whether it's in sales, whether it's marketing, whether it's call center, whether it's production, you name it. The amount of money I've spent on consultants and with little return and value that I've gotten has really, really created a bad taste in my mouth. And it's funny, when I go to a lot of these networking events, it's not just me. It's crazy when I talk with these companies and the bad experiences that they're having with these consultants out there. These companies, these smaller companies, are trying to find the next thing to fix to get to the next level, and it seems to be a problem out there. And I just wanted to talk about the pros and the cons and experiences I've been through.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I guess where we'll start is, why would a company hire a consultant? Like, what is the value, or what are you looking to solve for?
Well, I was always looking for help in a part of my business. Whether it's marketing, because marketing is a challenge. I didn't go to school for marketing. I didn't work for a company in this industry that was very good at marketing. So you find a consultant who's worked for a very large company or helped grow it, and they go on their own to help companies. So then you would find them at a networking or through word of mouth and hop with them, or you've been referred. Well, let me back up. A consultant that has success, then you're saying, oh, I want to join this consultant. I want to see what they're all about. People are hiring consultants because these consultants are good at selling. So you're sold by a consultant. And some people don't want to be paying these monthly fees from these organizations, and they'd rather just do a one-stop shop with a consultant. So,
yeah,
what I've seen.
And so why are companies not happy or not having success with some of these consultants?
Well, just to be clear, there may be these companies who take on these consultants and don't follow through with the tools these consultants provide. That could be a big one, where they realize there's big changes in their company and they don't have the time, the staff, or the effort to put through. So let me make that clear. It really has to do with you as a company. Are you going to follow through with all this? Me, on the other hand, the people who know me, I follow through 100% with this. Being at my size, you spend 10 to 20 grand on a consultant. I'm going to put it to work to see if it works. Mm-hmm. I do believe people are not happy with consultants because these consultants are a solo person, and what they do is they take on a couple clients. Then they take on 4 clients, 5 clients, 6 clients. And before you know it, they're so disorganized, they forgot where they left off with you, or they're focused mainly on their very large client that's paying the largest portion for them. I've experienced that. And that's one thing I always ask consultants: how many clients do you have? How many clients do you want? How many can you handle? And I found that a lot of them just grow too fast and they're focusing on the people that are paying the most. And that's really when you see very upset companies. Another thing is consultants that I've hired are very unorganized. Again, they take on too many clients. Um, they just can't seem to juggle it all, and next you know, you're just sitting here and you don't know when they're going to answer the phone. I had a consultant that didn't even have their voicemail box was consistently full, and then they wouldn't respond to your text till late at night, and that's when you start getting a little worried. Um, let's see what else. There's consultants that have proven skills that actually work in a certain demographic and not actually proven methods. They're just fundamentals. I would say marketing is different everywhere, different demographics. Radio may work for the East Coast, but not for the Midwest, and vice versa. Home shows, you name it. And I think that's another thing I've noticed is a consultant with proven skills. You got to be very cautious on it. Is it going to work for your demographic?
Yeah. And now with consultants, there are ones that there are organizations that act as consultants, and then there's solo consultants. What's the difference between these two?
Well, industry consultant organizations, I would say, are basically where I get more value out of. They're going to have a much larger staff, and these industry organizations have established industry credentials using their methods. They have connections with all the vendors to recommend for tools for you to succeed. They carry different type of consultants in different aspects of your business. They have ongoing support, and they hold events to help you network in the industry, and they offer on-field training and support if needed. I've found more success and how would I say tools going through these organizations. Like I said earlier, I didn't know how to work a business, and by joining an organization, they really know what they're doing. They know how to look at the books, create processes, and they just have more tools. So I would say those organizations are definitely more valuable for what you're paying. However, they'll probably have higher costs, but they're more focused on the individual.
What are a couple examples, or can you name some like organizations that are industry consultants? Like what are a couple of them? 2, 3 that are out there.
Well, you have CCN, Certified Contractors Network.
Mm-hmm.
Very happy with them. Still part of them. You have Grosso University. I can't say enough good stuff about Dominic and Nick and what they've done for my organization. You have Sean Foyer, consultant. He is. I'm still with him. What he's brought to our table with mindset, focusing on goals, you name it. Just that he's the bread and butter of what I'm doing.
Is that a solo consultancy, or is that an industry?
Oh, you caught me. He's the solo, so we'll get to that
Okay.
one. Yeah,
Okay.
good catch there. And then you got Dave Yoho Associates. You got Rodney Webb. Those are more for sales. Let's see here. What else? I know there's quite a bit in this industry, but those will be some examples of
Yeah,
industry consultants.
that's great. And so you mentioned Sean and sort of like that solo consultancy. What are some of the pros and cons, if you will, of working with an individual as opposed to an organization?
Well, those individuals are going to specialize in a particular sector in your industry and have a narrow focus and have proven history of what they've done for a current business. Again, they have a proven history in their industry. They have backing to show what they've provided to a company, how they scale it, how they grow it, and provide those things to you. And they have an extreme passion for helping companies in the particular part that they're suffering in. So that's how I would identify great consultants.
Yeah. What are some of the drawbacks of a solo consultant?
what I've seen in the past is, they don't ask enough questions about your company and how you operate, because they're not sure if they could plug and play their methods into your company. I think they're more so just to get clients and not understand if their processes and methods will work for your company in your demographic. I find a lot of them talking way more than they're listening to your pain points and understanding. Um, and the assets, like what are they providing to you? Are they giving you manuals, scripting, field training, and are these tangible assets professional, or did they just type up a quick Excel formula on the airport at the airport? Are these manuals and scripting customizable to your company? Are they providing PowerPoints for training? What are the assets that they're giving you that you could use to get moving where you're trying to go? Do they answer your calls? Do they text you back in a timely manner? That's a big indicator that how important you are on their list. I've had consultants that call me back right away, text me right away, and I've had consultants where I'm texting them. I've texted you twice now. I can't get a hold of you, which could be very frustrating. Can they follow through with their agreements? I've seen that a lot, where you go through a whole set of agreements and what you're going to do, and before the end of it, you've realized you haven't completed all these agreements, and time's up. Oh, let's see here. And again, we talked about earlier, they're focused on larger companies that will give them more recognition, that will get them to the next level. That could be frustrating, and I know that happens, but that's why I always say ask them how many companies they're consulting for, and what are the sizes, and how many can they take on. I think that's a huge thing to consider before you take someone on. So those are some.
Yeah. No, I love that. I'd love to. And you started here a little bit, but I'd like to know, like, if a contractor is listening to this and they are looking for somebody to help them with their business, what are some of the questions that they can ask, or what can they look for when they're looking for a consultant, whether it be an industry or a solo consultant?
I think from hiring, spending lots of money hiring many consultants, I think I've got it down pretty good. Is do they ask you questions and everything in your company? What's your process look like? When a lead comes into the office, do you have a call center? Do you have a receptionist? How do you qualify it? How do you give it to the sales rep? Who manages the sales reps? Understanding the current company's process before you take them on board, making sure that our process is the process you're looking for you to plug and play. I start asking for referrals now. I need to speak to people. I need to speak to companies you're currently working with and companies that you're not working with anymore. At least 3. And the big ones are, how many clients do you currently have? How many clients do you currently max out at? And how big do you want to grow your business?
What are some answers you're looking for there?
Well, how many clients do you have? If it's one person, I personally would like to hope it's 5 and under. Mm-hmm. That's me. And where do they want to max out? Well, you're thinking one person. How much work can this consultant handle before they got to take on more employees? An admin or an assistant, something like that. Now, I'm not a consultant, but 5 clients, maybe 5 to 10. I'm not sure really. I guess it depends on the multitasking or how many hours they put in to serve all these clients. And what type of packages they're giving these clients. Maybe they're offering more features because this client's paying more money, and they're going to have more time dedicated to the larger company, or the company that's spending more money as to the smaller one. And how big do they want to grow their business? Is this something that they're passionate about and they want to grow their business, so they need more success out of the clients they're taking on? Finding out how long they've been doing it, I think, is a good one. Did they just start, or they've been doing it for multiple years? I think longevity is important to make sure that they are established and they're in it for the long run. I'd like to find out what packages they offer, or is it just one thing they do, or is there a tier system? And I think what's important is, what's their expectations of me and my company? where's our timeline here? Where are we starting and where we're going to be, and what's their expectations as well as what's mine. And what happens if I'm not happy? Things aren't followed through, and I've done everything I can, and it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
What happens? Because that means then I'm upset.
What normally happens there? Like what happens? What is the natural response?
I've had them some ways where there's a little bit of refunds, other ways where it's like, keep working at it, you'll get it. I've done everything I can. At the end of the day, it's if you got the tools and assets and you put them into place and it didn't work, well, you tried, they tried. Either they're going to give you a refund or they're going to put more effort into you without extra cost to get you where you need
Yeah.
to go. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, those are some good questions. I believe and take it slow. Don't hop someone on board with you immediately. Really make sure you're looking at all these sectors and the referrals. So again, with my experience, I wish I did slow this down. I'm a very impatient, um, constantly wanting to get moving on something. So if I just slow down a little bit more, I think I'd have possibly a little bit more success and probably turning them down, saying, nope, this isn't a fit.
Right.
Something doesn't feel right here.
What are some of the? I mean, what for you? Like, what are the top two or three areas where in your business you look for help from a consultant, whether it be an organization or a solo consultant? Like, what are the top two or three areas that you look for help in?
Well, in the past, it'll be
Okay.
more sales and marketing related. Um, Again, I didn't go to school for the sales and marketing, so developing these processes, changing sales systems, that's always been a struggle is to streamline that. I think now with that all being streamlined is looking more production, a better way to handle the production process. I know there's someone out there right now that's starting that, but again, they're fairly new, so I'm going to sit back and watch and keep an eye on it. But again, these industry organizations, I'm looking more to see their production processes again.
Yep. And that's awesome. I'd love to just transition a little bit. I mean, what are you most excited about in your business? I know you ventured now into cabinet refacing. So is that what you're most excited about, or is there something else that you're really excited about that you guys are doing?
No, I'm thrilled about the cabinets. Where it's taken us and where we're going to go is very exciting. Um, we're scaling, we're growing, and everything seems to be falling into place. Only thing holding us back is our state. Where's our state? They, shutting down or mass mandates when something else comes out. Who knows? That really does. I know everyone says, "Oh, everything was booming during Corona." Well, I don't know about our state. It really wasn't that way, or what I perceived.
Mm.
We really didn't see the astronomical industry growth that everyone else has. So I don't know if it's our state or what it is, but now we're seeing a big turnaround, especially moving the cabinets. So I'm really excited about that, um, especially. So
And where do you see in the next? I know it's kind of hard to envision, but in the next 3 to 5 years, where do you see the business? Do you see it evolving into a much bigger business around cabinet refacing, or do you think you'll add different trades, or do you kind of roll with the punches and see what's working? Where do you see the business in 3 to 5 years?
well, something I've learned throughout networking and just going to events is having a narrow focus on one trade in the beginning. Have the main three. Like I'm focusing on cabinets, windows, roofing. But
Mm-hmm.
what's your main focus that's going to grow you? And that is going to be cabinets. Then I could bring sales teams in and just focus on cabinet training. Lead costs are low. Once things really get moving, then we'll start pumping a little bit more back in the windows and roofing. But right now, cabinets are going to take us to the next level. So we'll probably in the next 3 years hover right around 30 million. But again, it's the bottom line. It, it, I would love to be that large, but if we're not making, 15 net, 10 net, then you got to slow it down and balance everything. So, but I see it at 30 million cabinets and windows and roofing. Those would be our main
That's
three.
awesome.
You got to have the other trades. I firmly believe because you, you have customers. They purchase from you. They're happy. They're satisfied. Offering other trades to keep things moving. Previous customers now they want windows. They're going to want roofing. I think it's very important to have those secondary trades.
Yeah. And why do you think it is that, customers choose to work with you? Like, what is it about Krumwiede that they appreciate, and why do they choose to work with you?
It's a great question. I think communication from the front end is very streamlined, very professional from our call center to update texting to emails to the way our sales reps come to the house, how they look, how they present the company. We have phenomenal accolades, what we give back to the customers, what it means to them. We try to tailor our whole focus in the house, focus on the customer. We say less talking, more asking the customers. And after that, how production handles it, how the operations manager, how do we order it, how do we install it, what do we look like in the house too, and are we giving them that treatment that we promised during the sales process? With right now, just using Guild Quality shows us we have a 98% satisfaction overall from all of our customers. Our reviews, our everything online is just customer focused, which is why we have phenomenal reviews. And I think, and I know why, almost 40% of our business is previous customers and referrals. And I think just keep moving that is, word of mouth, which is really helping.
Yeah. You mentioned communication is a strong point. What are you guys doing in the form of how are you communicating with customers, and when? Are you, I'm just curious, like, I know some companies have adopted this communication strategy in between that so-called like dark period from when the job's sold to the time that it's installed. And I don't know what that lead time is for cabinet refacing. But I'm just curious, like what sort of communication plan have you put in place that's been really effective?
Well, once the job is sold, the very next morning before 10 a.m., operations manager gives them a call, a welcome call, going over the contract, payments, asking answering any questions they have. And right then and there, they schedule the remeasure, immediately.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Our production manager gets out there within 5 days. And during that process is we use Hatch, which sends out a text when he's, your pre-construction meeting is coming up here. And then it also sends them a calendar invite, to make sure they set off that time. Production manager gets there, remeasures, again, answer questions, go over anything, grab a mid payment if they're not financing. And then obviously he takes off. When he orders material, they get a text material has been ordered. And then they also get a text when material has arrived. He sets the pace on, how long it's usually going to take. If it goes over a certain threshold, we do give a call from our operations manager, as well as an email and a text. Every time they call, it's an email and a text, making sure they understand we called and made them aware of what's going on. Usually they answer back with text. As soon as the material's in, operations calls to schedule their install date after a meeting with production. And then it also sends out a text invitation, and then the process of install starts.
Yeah, one of the things I've seen, and I don't know if it's a trend or not, but one of the things I've seen more and more recently is folks giving like a gift to their customer post install, like when the whole job's completed. Do you guys do anything post install once that job's completed? I mean, you must be asking for a review and maybe referrals, but do you do anything else?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's creating that iron fence around that customer, even post install. If the products are taking longer than usual, we actually send out a gift with a letter
Oh, okay.
as well. Again, keeping them happy and letting them understand, once things are ordered, it's out of our control. We try our best, but, they get impatient, holidays coming up, they want it done. So we try to just show our appreciation for being patient. When a job is completed, we use a phenomenal company, and I'll name drop because they are a phenomenal company, is G4 Marketing, and Brian Cascavalsian, wonderful guy. We send out a package, a thank you package. It's a box. You open it up. It has a whole jar of cookies with thank you everywhere and nice wrapping, and it has a nice letter from the company Again, thanking them. It comes with a gift card, $500 off their next project with us, and they could hand it over to a neighbor or a friend or family member. And then we keep them in an email campaign as well as a newsletter that comes out quarterly. The whole concept with G4 again is that iron fence. I can't tell you how many times when I was selling, I go in a home and someone had their windows replaced a year or two ago, and you ask them who did your window, and they cannot even remember. I don't know. So by using these tools, consistent emails, the drip email campaign, the newsletters, people are remembering us. We put promos on there, when we're launching cabinets, and then, they remember us, they refer us, they call us back. And I think that's a very powerful thing that everyone should remember, is to wrap it up at the end and create that fence.
Yeah, that's great. We're getting close to wrapping this up. I'd love to know, when you're not working, what do you enjoy doing? What are your hobbies?
What are my hobbies? That's great. I like golfing.
Okay.
I do like mountain biking. I live next to a really cool mountain bike area. I love cooking, grilling out. That's something I look forward to every summer, is to get back to grilling. And just like anything is on weekends, going somewhere with the family, with the kids and the wife, whether it's a fair, festival, car show, I always look forward to some quality time. So, but those would probably be my most favorite things to do.
Awesome. We're going to wrap this up, but my last question for you, what advice do you have for contractors that are listening to this podcast, whether it be about, seeking help for their business, running their business more effectively, looking for technology, whatever it may be? Is there any advice that you could share with them that they can take away from this?
Well, I would say slow it down. Interview. If it's technology, obviously there's a lot of people that use Leap. What Leap has done to our company, from the paper trail to streamlining everything, and there's a lot of unique features on there that could really help processes. Finding a process for your company before you're taking on any of these consultants, make sure you have a process down. Who answers their phones? How do you qualify? How do you hand it off? What do the sales reps do afterwards? How does the production handle things? Is very important to have better success when you hire consultants. That's why I believe going to a trade organization first. I am more than happy to take emails or calls if people want to run by certain consultants. Chances are I've hired them, and help them kind of understand my experiences or what I think they should do. But, again, it's more awareness I want to bring to everyone's attention, and that you're not alone if you've had a bad experience. But again, I've had a lot of good experiences, but more questionable experiences, which is why I wanted to bring that up. But yeah.
Awesome. Well, Mark, I really appreciate it. And, thanks for joining us and sharing this information with me and our listeners.
Yeah. And one more thing, Tom, we're doing the awareness thing right now with the consultants, right?
Yes.
Down the road, I have the next awareness. And I know this is also something I've talked with throughout my networking, is SEO website companies.
Yes.
The amount of people I've talked to that have good companies, but the people that they're hopping in dissatisfaction. And I am also one of those people. So I would love to discuss that as well, if you'd have me back down the road. But again, it's just awareness. I love networking, and I find all these things that are very common throughout all those companies that I think should be discussed.
Absolutely. Yeah, I look forward to that. And if you're listening to this and are interested in it, let us know. And we'll start to compile some thoughts around that and have you back on, Mark.
That'd be great. Thanks, Tom.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thanks again.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Tom.
Well, that'll do it for today's show. I truly hope you enjoyed this episode of Leaps and Bounds. If you did, be sure to leave us a 5-star rating and review, and subscribe to the podcast. We look forward to bringing you more exclusive conversations with some of the most successful home improvement leaders. If you're interested in learning more about Leap, be sure to check us out at leapdigital.com or follow us on our social channels. Until next time, see ya.